If you go from training a muscle group once per week to training a muscle group twice per week, you'll undoubtedly see better gains. Why? The first reason is that more sessions equal more exposure to highest stimuli. What this means is that more of your sets are better quality, since you're doing less sets per session. To illustrate this, compare doing 6 sets of an exercise once per week to doing 3 sets of an exercise twice per week. In the 6-set example, you're so tired by the 4th set that you're simply not able to exert as much force as you could if you split up the volume over multiple days. The second reason is that more sessions equal more technique work. Since technique is a part of strength training, practicing the technique of the exercise you want to get stronger more often can help you get stronger faster. To illustrate this, compare training planche once per week to training planche twice per week. By training it only once per week, you're practicing the planche technique so infrequently that by the next week, you'll be rusty and need to get used to it again. Technique also recovers the fastest out of all the systems it needs to recover, so theoretically, you could train it basically every day. And the third reason is that more sessions equal a higher weekly MRV or maximum recoverable volume. What this means is that more frequently you train, the more weekly volume you're able to recover from. For example, if you were to train a muscle group only once per week, your weekly MRV might be 10 sets. But if you were to train it twice per week, your weekly MRV might be 14 sets. I'm not really sure why this is the case, but my guess is that it's because in this example, your body can't physically recover from more than 10 sets in one session because the damage is so high that more of your resources go to fixing the damage instead of actually creating muscle and strength adaptations. So training more frequently allows you to do more work and recover from it. But does this mean that higher frequency training is always better? Even though it seems like a magic pill for more gains, it also has a downside, which is faster fatigue accumulation. Since you're able to squeeze more work in a week, and since that work is of higher quality, the amount of fatigue you accumulate will naturally increase, meaning that you'll have to implement fatigue management strategies such as deloading more often. This isn't anything bad, considering that you will make more gains. This is just something that you need to know so it doesn't catch you off guard. To give you an example of what I mean, imagine that you switch from doing 5 sets twice per week to doing 3 sets 4 times per week. In both examples, you're able to have high quality sessions and make the most gains out of your given frequency. But since you're able to do more total work per week in the second example, you'll accumulate more fatigue and have to deload sooner. As I said, this isn't really a downside. It only becomes a downside when your joints and connective tissues aren't able to recover from the amount of volume that your high training frequency allows you to do. If this is the case, you should reduce your total volume by reducing either your training frequency or per session volumes. Think of switching to higher frequency training like putting a very powerful engine in an old car. You may be able to go fast for some time, but eventually something will break because the car wasn't designed to go as fast as the engine allows it to go. In your case, the thing that will eventually break is your joints and connective tissues, since they aren't able to recover properly if you do crazy amounts of volume by working out very frequently. Why? Because they have the longest SRA curve, which means that they recover the slowest out of all the systems that need to recover. This is why your joints and connective tissues are the biggest constraint on your overall training volume. Your muscles and nervous system may be able to recover from a certain amount of volume, but if your joints and connective tissues are not, it's simply not sustainable. Now let's talk about how to find out the right training frequency for you. To do this, I want to first show you the downsides of very high and very low frequency training, so that instead of me giving you the answer, you can understand what makes a good training frequency. Let's start with very high frequency training first, which would be training muscle group 14 times per week. Why don't people do that? If high frequency training is all that good, doing 2 sessions every day must be how you make the best gains, right? Wrong. You could make good gains doing 14 sessions every week, but it's just so impractical that almost no one does it. Think about it. If you were doing 14 sessions for a muscle group every week, this means that you'd literally be able to do 1 to 2 sets per session. This is super time inefficient, considering that you have to warm up before each session and you're not able to get in the groove of the exercise because you're doing so few sets per session. This would be just like driving to a sushi restaurant that's 1 hour away and just eating 1 piece of sushi. If you're there, you might as well eat until you're full. Now that we know why very high frequency training isn't optimal, let's talk about why very low frequency training isn't optimal either. By very low frequency, I mean training a muscle group once per week. The most important reason why this is not optimal is because you're simply not able to do your required weekly volume all at once. If you need to do 14 sets per week for a muscle group to maximize your gains, doing 14 sets all at once will be so much damage that your body will spend most of its resources repairing the damage instead of actually creating adaptations. This is why weekly volume isn't the only thing that matters. Your per session volume matters as well, and if it reaches past a certain point, you're just doing junk volume. This would be just like going to a sushi restaurant and eating everything you can see. You'll get uncomfortably stuffed, so the experience won't be as enjoyable if you ate only until you were full. Now that you know the downsides of very high and very low frequency training, you can probably guess what makes a good training frequency: time efficiency and the ability to reach your required weekly volume through high quality sets. For most people, this will be around 2 to 6 sessions per week for a muscle group, depending on muscle size and architecture, genetics, lifestyle, and training history. Muscle size and architecture means that the bigger a muscle is, the longer it takes for it to recover. Genetics means that some people can just recover faster, lucky bastards. Lifestyle means that if your nutrition and sleep is on point, you can survive higher frequencies better. And training history means that as you become more advanced, you can benefit more from higher frequencies. To find out the right frequency for you, all I can tell you is this: experiment. Start with a very low frequency and volume, and if you feel like you can easily do more work, increase the frequency and volume by a little bit until you reach a point where it's too much. Then you know that you've reached your upper end of your overall volume. To give you an example, I train push and pull 3 times per week, which sums up to 6 workouts per week in total. This may sound like a lot, but I only do 4 to 6 sets per session, so it's not like I'm doing crazy amounts of volume. I feel like this training frequency has been working really well for me so far, although I've been doing it only for a week, so I'm curious to see how I'll feel in the following weeks. If you're curious as well, you can follow me on Instagram to see every one of my workouts. Link is in the description. To end this video, let's conclude everything we just talked about. Higher frequency training generally is better than low frequency training for 3 reasons. The first is that more sessions equal more exposure to highest stimuli. Since you're doing less sets per session, you can put more effort in each one. The second is that more sessions equal more technique work. By training planche twice per week, you're getting double the amount of technique work that you get from training planche once per week, which can speed up your gains. And the third is that more sessions equal a higher weekly MRV, or maximum recoverable volume. By doing more sessions per week, you're able to recover from more total volume. For example, if you train shoulders once per week, you might be able to optimally recover from 10 sets. But if you were to train them twice per week, you might be able to optimally recover from 14 sets because the damage from a single workout isn't so high. However, the main downside of high frequency training is faster fatigue accumulation, meaning that you'll have to implement fatigue management strategies such as deloading more often. This isn't anything terrible. It only becomes a problem when your joints or connective tissues aren't able to recover from the amount of volume that your high training frequency allows you to do. Generally, the optimal training frequency for a muscle group is 2 to 6 times per week, depending on various factors such as muscle size and architecture, genetics, lifestyle, and training history. To find out the right training frequency for you, all you have to do is experiment. Start with a low frequency, and if you feel like you can easily recover from it, you can slowly increase it. If you found this video helpful, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to my channel, and comment down below what kind of videos you would like to see from me more. You can also check the description for the best snap bodyweight exercises for beginners and my Instagram, where I post my workouts and lifestyle in general. And have an awesome day. Peace!